I am going to be talking about chicken skin. So before I start this video, I have to tell you guys, I am not a dermatologist. Keratosis pilaris is basically chicken skin. Chicken skin is basically caused by keratin growing inside your hair follicles. What happens is it ends up creating these bumps on your skin. And in my case, I have chicken skin at the back of my arms. I also have it at the back of my leg. It was really bad when I was younger. Like when I was a teenager, it was horrible. The older I've gotten, the less inflamed or like visible it seems to be getting, which is kind of like a gift of age. Apparently, more than 40% of adults actually have some form of KP. So it is a hereditary condition. There's currently no cure for KP, but you can actually manage it, and I'm going to tell you guys how I manage mine. I will put all the links to all the products that I mentioned in the description bar below so that if you're interested, you can go grab them or check them out. This by far is one way of minimizing the visibility of your KP. Because remember we said that keratin is developing inside your hair follicles. So what that means is it needs to be removed. Like that skin needs to be shed somehow. The way I like to exfoliate on an everyday basis is by using a loofah scrub. So this is an example of a loofah scrub. It's probably the more natural way of exfoliation, and the key is to be like super gentle when you're doing it, because you do not want to over scrub, just because that then also irritates it. And I do notice that whenever I have my skincare routine in place, I tend not to have such inflamed KP. So this is definitely by far one of my most essential things. So another way I like to exfoliate is using a scrub. So this one is by St. Ives. It's just basically an apricot scrub. You don't need actually quite a lot of apricot scrub. You just literally just need a dab for each area and then just gently exfoliate it. Again, you do not want to go hard on it because you will cause yourself an irritation, or at least I do, and I don't want you guys to get irritated either. And one thing I will say about exfoliation or being in the shower and taking baths is that you do not want to take long showers. The reason is most of us tend to crank the heat up when we take showers. That is not good, because when you take a hot shower, you're basically eroding the oils from your body, and that dryness actually exacerbates your KP. So you do not want to take too many showers, and then you do not want to have really hot showers either. So if you could lower the temperature, you'll be doing your skin a great favor, and not just for KP but generally. In terms of the soap or shower gels and stuff like that that you use, I personally try to shy away from most of the shower gels out there. I tend to use very sensitive labeled products, or currently I'm loving black soap. I'm using this soap. It is the Dudu Osun black soap. I use it for everything. I use it for my face, I use it for my body, and it works really well for me, especially because it's a natural product. In this case, I really like it because it's moisturizing to my KP. It's not a super drying soap, which is something that I like about it. In terms of regular drugstore products, stick to Aveeno, or there's some really cool products that are like low and just basic. Everything else fails, just stick to the baby aisle because honestly you need something gentle that's not gonna irritate your skin. The same way I think about soaps and shower gels, I tend to use the same thinking when I'm picking out a moisturizer. So with my moisturizers, I generally tend to like things that are like lower in the fancy stuff, like no fragrance, and I don't need all those things. I just need something that's gonna really seal in the moisture in my skin. So when it comes to the moisturizers, in this case, if your KP is really serious, or if you're really disturbed by it, ask your dermatologist to suggest what's the best acid to use on your skin. So examples of these acids are like using moisturizers that have lactic acid, salicylic acid, or I don't know, urea, or things like that. You need something that's gonna like maybe peel that layer for you. The problem with using those type of products regularly is that your skin does also become really dry, so it might become like a catch-22, if that makes sense. You do not want to make your skin so dry, because the whole point of KP is it's exacerbated by dry skin. So yes, you'd have gotten rid of one layer of the problem, but you create a new layer. So I personally would suggest maybe using that type of acid based product when you're having a really big inflammation. So in my case, just in the middle of winter, I tend to have super dry skin. I I know that I need some extra protection. So on those days, that's when I would technically use something that has some form of like lactic acid, is what I personally use. I'm currently out of the moisturizer that I use, but I will put it below. But yeah, you can find them at the drugstore. Usually when you go to the drugstore, if you just look down, most of the product for KP, they tend to be right at the bottom shelf. Literally look down and I guarantee you'll see the products. Amlactin is what I tend to use, which is just an over-the-counter lotion or moisturizer. I tend to, like I said, use moisturizers that are usually designed for problem skin or that have really high moisture, if that makes sense. So this is the Aquaphor healing treatment or ointment, and this is actually designed for like if you have like dry skin, dull skin, cracked heels and that sort of thing. It's basically like a gel, and by gel I mean it's more of like a Vaseline type of look. It's really moisturizing, and this is more on the greasier side, obviously. So in the winter time, I tend to use something like that. The other product that I've talked about quite extensively before is this. This is the Vaseline Problem Skin Therapy. You see, it's just literally like a lotion. On a scale of greasiness, is not as greasy, obviously, as the other one that I just showed you guys. This is more manageable for an everyday feeling, so you could use this and not feel super greasy. This I've been using on a day-to-day basis because I like to switch around my moisturizers, just because I don't want my body to get used to one. I alternate between the Vaseline one that I just showed you. So this one is by Keri. It is fragrance free and it is their intense hydration line, which means that it is very hydrating. While it's not as greasy as the Vaseline, it has this kind of sticky feel. So you kind of feel like when you are applying it, it feels a little bit sticky, but when it rests on your skin, it goes away. It reminds me a lot of the Amlactin. So that's it for moisturizers. Now some basic tips that you probably want to think about. I've already talked about the heat and the shower stuff. Make sure you're taking shorter showers, cooler showers. The other thing too is humidifiers. Because again, your skin is pretty dry, sometimes you do not notice how dry your house is or your room is. And so try to purchase a humidifier. I basically tend to have a humidifier all through winter time because the air is so dry, and so I know that I have this situation with the KP, so why would I want to not prevent it by just getting a humidifier? You can get something that's super affordable that matches your budget, but it's worth the investment, especially if you have KP or some dry skin problem. KP basically is, like I said, keratin growing inside in your hair follicles. Basically, you want to think about or rethink hair removal. If you're someone who waxes, or if you shave and you remove your hair, just make sure that the form of hair removal that you're using doesn't cause you to get irritated. If you tend to shave the areas where you have KP, that may actually aggravate your situation. I have waxed my legs before, and even when I've only waxed sort of like the front parts because I really don't get hair like at the back of my thighs and that sort of thing. If you do get hair in the areas that your KP is present or inflamed, try to avoid those areas and just remove hair in the other areas, if that makes sense. And if you have no choice, but like, you know, you don't want to look weird or something, if you have so much hair, then try to find a method that's gentle, like a hair removal method that's actually more suited to your situation, because you do not want to irritate your skin more than it has to be. Those are all the tips and tricks that I have about KP or chicken skin. Let me know what products you use for your situation, because I'm always on the hunt for new products that help treat dry skin. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so and give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.